Hi everyone, I'm back. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus. I had a lot of things come up in my life and I needed to take a little bit of a break. But I've been counseled to come back and start my channel, and that there's some folks that I need to work with by the end of the year. I don't know who. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is just general energy forecasts for all the signs once a month. That's my intention. um, and just kind of touching on whatever kind of comes up to the surface. So I pulled a few cards just for the general energy for the next 30 days or so. And the cards that came up were pretty heavy duty. The Tower, the Eight of Swords, and the King of Swords. Now, this is a general reading, and not everyone will connect with it. But for those of you who do connect with it, these messages are meant for you. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't connect with you, if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. You know, there's tons of other really amazing readers on YouTube, so you'll definitely be able to find what you're looking for. But these three cards, the sense that I get is over the next month and a half or so, we're looking at some pretty massive shifts and changes. I think some of this is going to be on a global sphere, but even a national level. I definitely get the sense of just a lot of institutions being kind of upset, and how this may affect you in your own life is, maybe at work you end up, the position that you were in is eliminated and you get moved to another department, or a parent moves in with you and your home is completely different, or pardon me, I'm a little under the weather. A number of things could happen that kind of upset our balance. But the sense that I get is kind of, it's sort of coming from the outside. It seems like it on the surface, but a lot of times when things shift in our lives in a major way, it's the kind of thing that if we really think about it, we saw coming, and this is definitely that energy. This could also be, if it's not you yourself, it could be people around you. Their lives are, I wouldn't say crashing down, I don't want to use that kind of inflammatory language, but people could be experiencing a lot of upsets around you, and observing it can also give you a little bit of an emotional upset, or kind of create a little bit of tumultuousness in your own life. With the Eight of Swords here too, I get the sense of like not wanting to make the necessary changes, or kind of feeling stuck. Stuck is the word that really comes to mind. Stuck. And the Tower could be a moment of unsticking, or it could be a moment where you realize, oh, this is what I need to do, or this is where I'm stuck, and this is how I can get unstuck. The Eight of Swords here, the phrase shortened force really comes to mind. I use a Thoth deck, and that's the phrase, that the Lord of shortened force. I feel that the general vibe here for a lot of folks is going to be empowering people who have felt for a long time as though they don't have power. So if you've felt for a long time, maybe say, work is a good example. If you felt like you weren't being heard at work, like nobody, took your opinion seriously, or, in your relationship or your home life, whatnot. The Tower moment would be when, you say, I quit, I'm not doing this anymore. Or it'd be the moment when you put up a fight and you say, you can't take advantage of me in that way anymore. But with the Eight of Swords here, I feel like there's a little bit of a delay in taking the actions. So I also get a sense for a lot of folks that there's that the tower might end up being more of a like a mental thing for a lot of folks on a lot of folks on a lot of levels. Just kind of, oh, that's the problem, and then the actual action side of it might take a little bit longer of just kind of sorting out. Okay, what can I afford to lose? What can I afford to, you know, shift and change? How does this look? Um, being counseled to tell you don't overthink it. Don't don't overthink it. If it's something, if there's something that comes to mind right now as I'm talking about these tower things and all this stuff, if there's something that comes to mind, don't overcomplicate the actions that you need to take. It may be you just need to, you know, quit that job and just, you know, trust that the universe has your back. It may be that you need to tell your partner it's over and that's it. You know, what I'm being told is don't overthink it. Because I think with the Eight of Swords here, we get kind of stuck in our heads about what to do instead of just taking the necessary steps. And I also think that that's why the tower has to happen. So for a select few, this major event or crisis could have recently happened, and it could have led to you feeling like you're in a place of limbo, not quite knowing what to do because of it. Some of you are experiencing that. For those select few, legal action. I keep hearing legal recourse, the law, or like something to do with the rules of engagement, the rules, King of Swords, kind of putting it out in a contract, reading your lease agreement, you know, all of those little details, and also just thinking very logically and very critically about what your agreements, both spoken and unspoken, are with people. So, you know, if you're feeling stuck or trapped because of something that somebody did or said or some situation that has recently changed, this card is saying, get out of your head, at least that weird part of our, like, I don't want to say emotional head, but that part of your head that gets stuck, you know, swimming between, oh, I feel so bad, I'm so scared, this thing, the other thing, that sort of weird headspace, and think a little bit more coolly and rationally about, okay, well, you know, if it's, I want to get out of this relationship or something like that, it's, well, okay, you know, I have these bills every month and this is what our lease agreement is, and, you know, kind of pick it apart in that way and come up with a plan rather than thinking about how scared you are about, you know, going out on your own or something like that. So that's obviously not going to be for everybody, but the antidote here, I guess, that seems to be offered or recommended by the cards is taking a cool, calm, and rational approach. Very rational. That's the word that really sticks out to me here. So we really want to be picking through the details. Thread and needle. I don't know why. Putting the thread through the eye of the needle. That's another phrase that's coming to me as well. So so specifically, I got pulled one card for each of the sign groups. So for earth signs, so, you know, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, I pulled Fortitude, otherwise known as Strength, the Strength card. And I should actually show you guys these cards. They're pretty fun. And I'll put information about the deck that I'm using in the description below. But Fortitude, this is, I feel it's adding on to that, the general reading for everybody, and what it's saying is, in addition to a calm, cool, rational sort of like list making approach, it's suggesting that any of those feelings of like fear or terror, oh, I'm so scared my savings account is going to get drained, or whatever us earth signs worry about, the that fear or that knee-jerk emotional reaction, it's just suggesting that you find a way to tame that. Obviously self-care is always a really good route to take, and for a lot of folks, things like exercise, meditation, yoga, taking a bath, walking your dog, petting your cat, whatever it is that kind of gets you to breathe and just focus on being in your body and not so much in your head and in your fear reactions. That's going to really serve you. And it's just saying that this too shall pass too, is the sense that I get, that whatever's going on right now, like this is nothing that's happening here for a lot of the earth signs is going to be like earth shattering. It's just the sense that I get here is you kind of just, your biggest challenge is going to be controlling your emotional reaction to things, which is kind of odd for earth signs, but basically kind of finding a way to keep those emotions in a healthy container. Not saying don't express yourself, but finding a way to contain them and express them selectively or with intention and purpose. So not exploding or making a rash decision, which again earth signs aren't really known for, but going all full on doomsday prepper because there's a bad storm coming or something. Like don't go full on in that direction, just because there's something that's upsetting that's happening. So just kind of keep it under lock and key in this next month, and kind of sort it out, and then figure out how you want to handle it and how you kind of want to parse it out. And I think for earth signs, that's going to be again that King of Swords energy, where you make the list, you figure out, okay, this is what needs to be done, and then this is how I feel about all of it, and this is how I'm going to respond rather than react to what's going on. So a very methodical, very grounded approach to any of the major upsets that might be coming your way in the next month or month and a half or so. For air signs, the Hierophant card came up. I'll try to get to focus here. The light's a little funky in this room. But the Hierophant card came up. And the sense for this one that I get with air signs is that connecting to ritual, routine, to existing structures is going to be really valuable. So for our Librans, our Aquarians, our Geminis, I also get the sense of like reading is going to be really helpful for you. Like reading official documents is going to be something that really helps the air signs. Reading religious texts, reading philosophical texts is going to be very helpful for many of you, to give you a sense of groundedness and connectedness and support. For many people, religious texts have a really calming effect, especially in times that are trying, to go back to ancient words of wisdom. And I feel like a soothing word is going to be very helpful for many of the air signs in this next month or month and a half or so. But also a sense of community and a connection to something bigger than yourself, outside of yourself. So groups that exist, maybe it's a church group, or maybe it's your local coven, or whatever group it is that you connect with that that makes you feel safe and heard and understood, listened to, but also that gives you something beyond yourself to think about. So I think for especially Librans, I'm hearing for our Libras that they're really going to need sort of a figure to look at, like something to think about outside of their own problems or their own questions or their own life stuff. It's going to be very helpful for them to study or to ask questions that don't pertain to their own personal life, but are questions about, oh, well, what would this person say about this? Or, what would Jesus do? Or, whatever, anything along that line, um, sort of questioning, to try to understand a philosophy or an idea. That's going to be helpful. I feel like there's one more thing in this card for you guys. Jane Goodall. Some of you are going to connect to people who connect with animals. I just get a sense of that the animal kingdom is also it's a structure and a hierarchy that we can see ourselves in, and that can provide guidance and understanding. If you have ever been curious about like totem animals or even, I mentioned Jane Goodall, her work, but anything that has to do with the animal kingdom, or even volunteering with your, local humane society, shelter, anything like that, that could also be really grounding and really supportive at this time. So for the fire signs, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, pulled the Four of Cups. And the phrase that I hear is gotta rise above it. Like for you guys, I feel like it has more to do with not allowing yourself to be dragged down by whatever crazy thing is going on around you, just letting it roll off your back. And fire signs are usually pretty good about that. Usually when, crazy things go on, you're pretty quick to recover compared to some of the other signs. This one is the Lord of Blended Pleasure. So even if you recover quickly, though, the sense that I get is that if people around you aren't having a good time, you feel for them, and it's not easy for you to see people that you love struggling. So with the Four of Cups, the sense that I get here, it's almost like it's saying, don't be afraid to give a little bit, even if it's something that isn't your favorite thing, isn't the most exciting to you. I think there's kind of a little bit of sort of obligation here, and that's so. It's kind of an odd. It's an odd card here, but I feel like how this is going to hit you, how the energy of the next month and a half is going to hit you, is it kind of has more to do with feeling like you have to give to something that you don't want to, or just not being that excited about what's going on. There's not really anything that you want to get engaged with. There's a lot happening, but none of it's that exciting. So for some of you who maybe don't like the holidays, this time of year is triggering for a lot of people. A lot of people just don't like it. They got family issues or whatever. So for a lot of my fire signs, I see that it's just kind of like, ugh, this thing I got to deal with, and a big list of stuff I have to accomplish, and all of that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to say no to things that are really just not floating your boat this month. I think that that's going to be one way you can avoid some of the worst parts of this energy, is just not being afraid to say no if it's just not that exciting to you. Because I think you're going to save yourself a lot of hassle, and just a lot of kind of icky feelings if you just say, no, I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm about. And, you know, if people's feelings get hurt, that's their problem, not yours. I mean, it's kind of weird to say it that way, but it's the truth. You can't be living for other people entirely. So there may be some things you can't avoid, as we were talking about earlier. You know, there may be some things that you can't avoid that you have to do, and that maybe still aren't that exciting. But the things that you don't have to do, there's no reason to force yourself to go through the motions just to make somebody else happy, because I think that that will lead to, you know, a tower situation for you, you know, pent up resentment blowing out, or just feeling trapped by circumstances, kind of trapped by somebody's expectations. Oh, well, I did this thing for them once and now they expect it. Isn't that great? You know, so just being really clear about what it is that you actually stand for, what it is that you actually want to do, will help you avoid a lot of that. And water. I've got the Hanged Man. I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of hate this card. The Hanged Man, though, for you, with all of this craziness happening, I feel like this is just mainly saying that you kind of just need to, as the expression goes, let go and let God. For water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, your key to get through the next month and a half or so, as all these kind of crazy shifts are happening, is to just ride the wave. Just go with the flow. For you water signs, you may have to give some things up. You know, the Hanged Man is about sacrifice. But I feel like for you, it's going to be more about a change in perspective this month. That, you know, if you say your power goes out for a couple of days and suddenly you have to ration your water and your candles, and you have to, you know, cook on a propane, you know, stove or something. Suddenly you view all of our modern comforts very differently. So when the power comes back on, you have a couple of really amazing days where you get in the shower and you're like, oh, I can shower and it's hot and it's great and I can just hang out in here. It's that kind of thing where sometimes if something disappears for a little bit, you really come to appreciate, you know, the value of it. But also, this is just, I feel like it's like suspension. Sacrifice of that, like, part of us that wants to just do. Like, we always want to just do stuff. And a lot of us, you know, especially when things are crazy, we just want to, like, do stuff. Just let me do stuff and then it'll be better. And that's a lot of work, and a lot of times it's not better. Sometimes we actually end up making a real mess of things. So this is saying don't act too quickly. Don't be in a hurry to just jump up and fix things when things kind of go awry this month. Ride it out. Ride your intuition. Figure out how you feel about it, because that's going to be a really big one too. I think, you know, again, for you guys, the self-care, maybe meditation or whatever you do to calm your mind and kind of get back in with your center, whatever you do to do that, that's what I'm being counseled to tell you to focus on. Just find your center, and if you need to distract yourself, if there's crazy things going on and you don't have an immediate plan, there's not something that you can do that's really going to be effective, there's not something that is calling you like, hey, this actually can be done right now and it feels good and I can do it. If it's oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I'm stressing out kind of a situation, it's saying let it be for a while. Let the chips fall where they may for just a little bit. And distract yourself. Go paint a picture. you know, do the opposite of freaking out and stressing out. Find a way to not do those things. So maybe it's, you know, go watch some movies, go do some art, hang out with friends, do something that makes you happy. And that's not saying ignore your problems. I'm not saying to ignore your problems. What I'm saying is, if it's a problem that you can't readily solve, worrying about it is only going to make it worse. You're only going to find yourself in a situation where you're acting from a weird place. You're making weird, rash decisions based off of fear or some other kind of reaction. And that's not really where you want to be working from. You want to be working from a more centered place. So if you're in a weird situation where a lot of things seem to be kind of crumbling around you and you're stressed and your heart's kind of doing this and you know you find that you're not really breathing as much as you should be, stop and take a breath. And if it's something you can't fix right now, don't think about it. Do everything but think about not having a solution for it. Don't think about, oh, I don't have an answer to this. Just don't think about it. Walk away, go cook a nice meal, or, you know, go on a date, or pet your cat, or whatever, for a few days even. And this is a solution that works for a lot of folks, and it works for me too. I find that if I just don't think about it for a few days, the answer just comes to me. And that's how you'll figure out, and that might be your tower moment. And that might be the, oh, I know how to fix that problem. It might come to you because you walk away for a little while. So let it kind of simmer, let it do its thing. If something's built up and you're not quite sure what to do about it, if you feel trapped, 8 of Swords, trapped. And then once you do have that aha moment, whatever it is that you're trying to work through, come up with a plan. Be systematic and thorough, but make sure that the steps that you're taking feel right and feel appropriate for what, you know, what you need to do and what the outcome is that you're trying to achieve. I feel also called to tell you that you can't control every outcome, and that if you try to plan too hard or too much, you will muck up the outcome. So basically, again, kind of like I saw in some of the other signs, don't overthink it. Obviously, there's certain things that certain little details that you can plan for and think through, and it would be wise to do so. But don't think it through to every stage of the outcome and what that might lead to, and all the way down the line, right? So you have to plan certain things to, you know, if step 1 has to be in place for step 2 to work. That's fine. But you don't need to be on step 6. You just need to be 1 to 2. If that makes any sense. That feels good. Okay. I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of spiritual work and studying a lot this past while. It's part of why I took some time off from doing my YouTube channel and my readings. And over this time, my skill set has expanded considerably. So the last card that I pulled as like a general advice kind of overview card is the 5 of Wands, and check this crazy thing out. It's kind of on a comical. It's got like a dramatic flair to it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's this like kind of goofy line that's making like a face, and then there's a sort of a angry one that almost looks exactly the same. He's kind of it's a very slight difference, but the the gist that I get here is that what's going on right now and in the coming month or so is a really positive thing. Like, it's going to be challenging for some in the short term, but all of the shifts and changes that are happening right now are going to bring the best and the strongest parts out of us. So you know, if you are leaving a bad relationship, or you're, you know, starting a new project, starting a new job, leaving an old job, moving house, getting a new roommate, you know, thinking about starting a family, any of like the big things that could be happening, or even some, other things like in your interpersonal life, if your friendships are, you know, having some upheavals or some shifts and changes in how you view people. This card is saying that these changes and like any fights that you have are going to be for the betterment of you and your friendships, your relationships, of your life, of your station. That this energy, this sort of combative vibe, is for your growth and your betterment as a human, and that you're going to really gain a lot through this. So this is kind of a long video. So like I said, I'm hoping to do these monthly. I may do them more frequently. I'm really tuning into more of my intuition as far as when these go up. So I will not be posting these like on the first of the month. It's going to be when I feel called to do it. And I take that the same way with the folks that I do readings for. I find that, you know, the people who are meant to connect with me will connect with me. So if you would like a reading, I do have some availability. I'm going to post all of the information in the box below, or the little link area below, including prices. Yeah. So if you connected with this, awesome. I really hope this helps. If you like my videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I will be putting up new videos here and there, so you'll want to click the little bell to be notified when I do post, and give it a like and all that good stuff or whatnot. And yeah, thanks for watching.